And yeah, we just went over the early prelims. Now we're going to dive into the regular prelims. But for those just joining us, this is episode 50 of Beefy Boys Breakdown. Big milestone for us. Happens to fall on the 1 year anniversary. So even bigger milestone. We've been at this for 50 episodes. Haven't missed a single card. 1 calendar year, including a pandemic. And I think we're going to have to toast every one of these, brother. Hope you're ready.
Yeah. I indeed am. Well, hold on. There we go. There we go.
But yeah, here's the 50, here's the 1 year, and here's these prelims breakdown, brother. Woo.
Cheers.
Cheers, man. And yeah, so these prelims were honestly pretty damn stacked. A lot happened. Some pretty decent implications. I mean, I think almost all the prelims had ranked fighters. Almost. I say almost for a reason. Yeah, 4-fight prelim, but granted there was a 5-fight early prelim, so thanks. Kind of did us a favor there. And yeah, I guess we can get into it. I got to say, and I was saying this, so before this next fight started, this next fight is between Movsar Evloev and Hakeem Dawodu. And my wife Nina was in the room during the fights. You know, she was sometimes watching some, sometimes not watching some. But before this fight, I was like, man, babe, this guy scares the fuck out of me. But by the time she looked up, the screen had put to Hakeem Dawodu, and she was like, oh, why? Because it's he's mean or whatever. And I was like, no, the other guy scares the fuck out of me.
Evloev Airlines.
Bro, I'm convinced Evloev is fighting is his part-time job. That fool's a KGB. He kills people that guy's an assassin.
I don't know
why. The coldness in his eyes.
I don't know why his nickname isn't the Monstar. I've been saying it since he made his debut. Movsar the Monstar Evloev.
Yeah, you think assisted in that, man. I don't know. I think he might be KGB or something like that fool, or I don't know. He just scares the shit out of me. Yeah, no, not the guy mean mugging with mean on his tattooed on his chest. No, that guy doesn't scare me. This fucking cold assassin, just stoic, he scares the shit out of me. And then when
the way he fights,
yeah, man, he's so good. He's so good. I was stoked for this matchup. Now, I pretty much saw this matchup going down the way that it went down. But that's not to say, I mean, it was a great matchup. It was 14 versus 15 in the featherweight division. Rankings McGee's happy. Evloev -220 favorite. Hakeem Dawodu +190 underdog. So it's 14 versus 15. Dawodu known for knockouts and big power. Evloev, Russian fighter, fights kind of like a Russian fighter would fight, but just no holes, man. Well-rounded as fuck. Because I don't he's not he can strike. He's very active with his ground and pound. He's not just a smother type of Russian Dagestani fighter, which he's not Dagestani, but he's Russian. And I don't see any holes. We've talked a lot on the early prelim part of Beefy Boys about seeing the holes in these young fighters' games. 1 second, everybody. You good?
My phone is closed. Here, I'm going to leave, and can you re-invite me real fast? It's like my phone doesn't realize I'm on a video. It just went black, if that makes sense. You know how your screen goes dark and
still? Because I see and hear you just fine now.
I gotta see if I don't touch my screen. Yeah, it's still doing it. Yeah. All right, will you come re-invite me? I guess it just doesn't realize I'm on a live video.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. Yeah, no worries, bro. Leave and I'll get you back on. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Gives me time to fire up my unit anyway. We got this. We've done this 50 fucking times. Well, when we get to it, these prelims are really, really good. This fight was pretty badass. Like I said, Evloev scares the shit out of me. Hakeem Dawodu, known for his power, can end the fight at any given moment.
All right, I got it. We got it.
All
Holy
good, man.
shit.
These things happen, man. That's why a lot of people don't have the fucking iron stones to film a live podcast like we do. But man, we ain't photoshopping shit for you guys. But yeah, it's all good. We had a little technical difficulties. We're right back at it. We got Movsar Evloev, number 14th ranked featherweight, minus 220 favorite, fighting mean Hakeem Dawodu, plus 190 underdog at the 15th ranked featherweight. And man, the featherweight division is so stacked that like this 14 versus 15 fight had a lot more implications than it would at a higher division because there's so many
deep
guys chomping at the bits trying to enter that top 15. Like literally my whole Twitter feed was full of featherweights saying like, I got my eye on this one. Like seriously. And none of them were wrong for saying that. There's so many guys right there on that edge, at that bottleneck, trying to crack that top 15, and none of them are really not worthy of it. They're stacked division.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, 145, we always talk about, like, depth of the division. Jeez, my phone. It's fucking up. Anyway, 145, man, we always talk about it. One of just the deepest divisions in the UFC. I mean, that and 55, I think, are probably the two deepest, right?
Yeah, and then you got to throw 35 in there, too. But that definitely, that main chunk, 100%. And, yeah, a lot of talented fighters. And I got to say, just – and I guess I could pull it up right here, but not really because it only shows the rankings. But just not even eye test, but just like gut test of just recall. I don't think like looking at the 15 next to Dawodu's name, I was like, he's not the 15th best featherweight. No, that's not to say he wasn't deserving of the ranking because of all the knockout victories, but I don't know. Like I said, I felt good about Evloev coming into this one. Now, how did you score round one of this fight?
So I scored it 10-9 to Evloev for having Dawodu's back for, a little bit.
Over 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
More than half the round.
Yeah. Right. So I assume that you were leaning to Evloev as well?
Yeah. I 100% had Evloev. I just was wondering if you gave it a 10-8 or not. I was kind of teeter-tottering, but that later on the line of what actually is a 10-8 would be drawn. So I kind of had to retroactively give it a 10-9. But in the heat of the moment, I was kind of teetering on 10-8. 2.5 minutes of back control is a lot, but it wasn't boring. You might hear me talking about a Russian have 2.5 minutes of back control and assume that nothing was happening. But it was pretty heavy ground and pound. Every chance he got to inflict damage, he took that chance. And it paid off. He was inflicting damage from the back. Wasn't even really, I don't think, going for a submission. I mean, he was kind of neck cranking a little bit and cross-facing some, but he wasn't really trying to get under the chin. But he was inflicting plenty of damage. He had Dawodu in world of trouble. And honestly, when I saw Evloev get the fight to that position and keep it there, the key part of that sentence, I knew Dawodu was in a world of trouble and kind of didn't have a path to victory. Because on the feet, mind you, Dawodu is known for the one-hitter-quitter power, but the first impactful strike of this fight was Evloev landing that huge right against Dawodu. So I saw that, and then I saw everybody knew there was a big grappling advantage before the fight even started, but then it was kind of proven to be true. And I was just like, yeah, Dawodu's in a world of trouble. That was a large gap of 14-15, even though in the rankings there wasn't.
For me going into the third round, the only question was it 2017 or 2016?
Yeah, you know and I had it 20. I guess that would be 2017 because I had round one 10-9, kind of retroactive 10-9. I had in the moment I had it almost a 10-8, but I'll go round one 10-9. Round two I had it 10-8. Like literally put an exclamation point. So the first round I had a question mark. Round two I put an exclamation point because there wasn't no way in hell it was a 10-8. And to be honest, if you want to give round one a 10-8 and give this a 10-7, you're not necessarily wrong.
At least you'd be on the right thought process.
You'd be consistent, right? But
right.
I didn't want to do that, which is why I went back and gave 10-9 and then gave this one a 10-8. I didn't really want to give that a 10-7. But it was just dominant. Round 2, Evloev had his back for 4.5 minutes and inflicting damage the whole time. I got to say, though, and it sounds kind of like contradictory, or maybe it doesn't, even though Duwodu had his back for all that, or had his back taken for that large amount of time, Duwodu did a decent job. I won't say great, but decent job of trying not to accept the position. Like the effort,
True.
He was trying shit. Like he wasn't just fully accepting the position. Like he was trying shit. Now, granted, the shit he was trying wasn't working, but like Duwodu, I don't know. He did like halfway. Like I don't think he was garbage. I just think that like Evloev was that good. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Is like because like the effort and like the try. He was throwing shit against the wall, hoping it would stick, and just none of it would stick.
The reason I call him, I mean, I wouldn't mind if his nickname was Air Movsar Air Evloev, because Air Evloev sounds sick, and also because he's going to take you for a ride.
Yeah, man.
That dude's sick. He's going to be a problem for some 145ers. I don't know where he fits.
He's undefeated. Like I feel like nobody talks about the fact that he's undefeated. I guess he's 15-0 now after last night. You know, not really a spoiler alert after hearing that breakdown, but yeah, he's 15-0, and I mean that you see, like I said, we talk about it all the time. You see 5-0, you see 6-0, you see 7-0. You kind of not roll your eyes, but you're like, but take it with a grain of salt. But 15-0, I mean, that's starting to get to kind of the undeniable. Like
I will say though, the reason I'm kind of in that boat of like I don't know where he fits is because Duwodu was able to win the third round. At least on my card, I thought he looked really good in the third round. I thought Evloev looked tired, kind of.
No, gassed. You're right. Yeah, round 3, Duwodu hurt Evloev twice, and he was able to keep it on the feet. I gotta say though, after debatably 2 dominant 10-8 rounds, like if there's ever a reason to be tired, it's from dominating a guy, right?
Right.
Like, not giving passes, but there's a difference between being tired in like a neck and neck fight, or just being tired because you're in bad shape, and like being tired from being so dominant for 10 minutes.
Because you put the work in for so long.
It's a little different. I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, but I feel you. He's a pretty strong guy for the division. I mean, 140, cardio could. I mean, no fighter is perfect, right? I mean, I guess could cardio be a chink in the armor? I mean, potentially, maybe. But definitely enough to get the job done last night. I scored it. So I scored it 29-27 officially, and all 3 judges ended up scoring it 29-27. So I felt pretty good that I was able to score the kind of weird score. Like you don't see 29-27s that often. That's a weird scorecard, and but everybody saw it that way. Now I gotta say, it could have been 29-26.
I wouldn't have been mad at it.
Yeah, it could have been, but that's a weird scorecard.
Like, super weird. It's so weird to think that Duwodu got dominated for 2 rounds, 10 minutes essentially, and then was able to win the third.
Which, right, that kind of makes his stock not go down that much, right? Because, I mean, he showed some intangibles, I guess you could say. Now, the ground game has a long way to go, but he showed that he's like a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like the intangibles of the heart and the want to and the ability to dig deep and the ability to, never be out of a fight. Those are things you like to see out of a young, prospect right on that verge of the top 15. Because you can learn to defend a takedown, you can learn to reverse a position, but you can't learn to not quit. So,
right? Yeah, I'm totally with that.
Now, as far as the bottom end of 145, it goes Chikadze 10, Sadiq Yusuf 11, Bryce Mitchell 12, Shane Burgos 13. Evloev 14. I mean, I'm not mad at any of those matchups. I think Giga Chikadze has his eyes set higher, but I mean, it's not really up to him, is it? Bryce Mitchell hasn't fought in a minute. Shane Burgos just fought, but Bryce Mitchell hasn't fought in a minute. Evloev Mitchell, I mean, that could be some fun. I think Evloev has the advantage on the feet.
Who are 10-9?
Barbosa is 9, which he's coming off a win. And then 10 is Chikadze, also coming off a win.
I could see Barbosa Evloev, honestly.
I think I could see it. I think that'd be a little salty to do to Barbosa coming off a win, because he is coming off a win, right? So a guy at Barbosa's age,
Yeah.
like I'm not saying it's like out of line. I'm saying it's like a little salty, like not
It's
giving
salty
him the benefit
for
of the
sure.
doubt.
It's salty
No,
for
no,
sure.
no, no. As far as Burgos goes, maybe or Sadiq Youssef. I'm gonna type him in. When's the last time Sadiq Youssef fought?
I think he's coming off an L.
So he's not really in the position to really argue or turn down anything.
Didn't he lose to Drew Dober recently? Or did he beat Drew Dober? Or maybe I'm just completely crazy. He hasn't even fought Drew Dober.
Yeah, so he did. He lost to Allen.
Arnold Allen. Yeah,
he lost to Arnold Allen
and it was
in
a thick
a
white guy.
decision on April 10th, which that was 2 months, two months ago, almost to the date. He's about ready for a fight. I don't know. That would be a good matchup.
That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one.
I'd probably take Evloev in that one. But hey,
I probably would too.
We can keep it pushing. But yeah, Evloev, what I'm saying is, I don't see many holes. I guess if you want to call the cardio a hole, but I'm not even really willing to go that far. But Evloev, undefeated, terrifying, well-rounded, fucking monster, man. Well-rounded monster.
Yeah. No, I'm Air Evloev, the Movstar, the Monstar. I'm in.
Now this next fight, I want to talk about. Because
I can't believe card placement.
Yeah, card placement, a little disrespectful. Now, it was a super stacked card, but it's hard to make that argument when the next fight is two unranked light heavyweights fighting in the wrong weight class. So kind of hard to make that argument based on merit. But yeah, we got Lauren Murphy. I mean, I'm a fan of Lauren Murphy. I'm not afraid to admit that. Ranked 3 flyweight. A lot of people think that, she potentially is the only, kind of by default, the next challenger to Shevchenko. Not that she really poses a threat, but just that it's a fresh body. And then fighting Joanne Calderwood, who is a tough night out in the flyweight division, one of the more skilled strikers in the women's flyweight division.
We got 2 Scottish fighters on one card, Paul Craig and Joanne Calderwood.
Yeah, I like how the UFC does that. I really do, because if you're in Scotland, which I actually know some Scottish people, and if you're in Scotland, you might as well get your money's worth.
Get both your top represented fighters in one night. You know what I mean? I'm totally with it. I think it's great marketing.
That. Yeah, for sure, man. And then so Lauren Murphy's actually the underdog coming to this one, plus 110, which kind of makes sense. Her striking is pretty rudimentary, and Calderwood's one of the better strikers in the division. And Joanne Calderwood was minus 130. The favorite, even though she was the 6th ranked flyweight fighting the 3rd ranked flyweight.
But it was a minus 130 and minus 110, correct?
Or plus 110.
Plus 110. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it's pretty goddamn close.
Yeah. Right. Like if it goes either way, you're not surprised, but Vegas does have a slight lean to Calderwood.
Yeah, man. And round 1. How did you see round 1? I'm curious to see how you saw round 1.
Man, I actually scored it to Calderwood.
Me too, bro. Me too.
All right. I thought I was wrong.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad.
I think we were watching the same fights last night.
I think it's almost like the same broadcast was sent to both of our homes, right? It's crazy. So yeah. I mean, what was your reasoning? Well, because it was a close round. I think we'll both admit that it was a close round. But what kind of edged it out for Calderwood? What did you like from Calderwood? Because I think the judges gave it to Murphy.
I think so too. For me, so it was eye test. Just a little bit of it. I think posture, I think the way that Calderwood was moving around. But also, I just thought that whenever she was landing, I thought she was landing good solid strikes when she did land. And I don't know the strike numbers on this. I didn't even look at it.
Me neither. I think the way we're both going to describe it proves how hard of a round it was to score, which kind of makes it hard to roll out hills. But now, I think that So the word, if I had to pick one word to say why I scored it for Calderwood, and this is going to be a weird word to describe judging a round of mixed martial arts combat, the word would be context. Weird word. Now hear me out. The context being that we all know Lauren Murphy wants this either in a clinch or on the ground. We all know that. And we all know Calderwood wants it to be a kickboxing match. We all know that. That was acknowledged by all parties essentially entering, including the viewer as a party. We all entered into this kind of knowing that as the context. Now, round one took place as a kickboxing match at distance, essentially, for the majority of the round. And Murphy wasn't able to really to get it to the ground in round one. Or did Murphy get a takedown?
I don't think
tripping?
so.
I don't
No,
recall one. I don't want to be incorrect here.
I know. I'm pretty sure Calderwood was able to. Like,
I'm pretty sure it was on the feet.
And then even still in the clinch, she was able to like honestly disengage the clinch and land strikes disengaging. Like she's doing a really good job of fighting her fight.
That's what I'm saying. So it sounds weird to say context, but that's what I mean. So I say all that to say Calderwood was able to keep the distance, which is a huge thing when you're fighting Lauren Murphy. Like that's the fucking game plan when you're fighting Lauren Murphy, especially for Joanne Calderwood. And she was able to implement her game plan. And then the spinning elbow, because it was pretty much a coin toss round. And then the last impactful thing that happened before the bell was the spinning elbow from Calderwood. So I was kind of right, teeter-totter and still leaning Calderwood, but that was kind of the exclamation point. I gave it to Calderwood in a close round, but I'm glad you saw it the same way.
Now, I felt the same way. I thought more impactful strikes were landed by Calderwood. And she did a good job keeping the fight on her scales.
Where she wanted it, 100%. And I've been pretty consistent with the scoring. I gave Hooper a round earlier for that same exact reason. I think that needs to be factored, right? Like if there's one clear striker and one clear grappler, where that fight takes place, if it's a stalemate, kind of dictates the winner. But it's tricky, right? But round two was clearly Murphy. Murphy got the fight on the ground, which is Murphy's world. Everybody acknowledged Murphy was the better grappler. She showed that she was the better grappler. She looked like Lauren Murphy. Like round two.
I thought it was clear to 90 Murphy.
Round two was Lauren Murphy, like in a nutshell. Like if somebody like has never seen a Lauren Murphy fight and you want to like show her like what Lauren Murphy does, it's round two of this fight, in my opinion. Like that's dominant ground control, top pressure. Not a ton of damage, which, like I said, is Lauren Murphy, right? Like that's
unfortunately, man. If she could do a lot more damage, or even not even a lot, but just more, she could maybe sneak 10-8s in on some girls.
Because her ability to keep a fighter on the ground for multiple minutes.
The control is impressive.
It's there. It's there. Nobody's debating that. But yeah, what do you do with it?
Control without damage is like,
Yeah, but when you're fighting a striker, it's something. And
it keeps the striker on not their game plan, not their ability to win, not their path to victory.
100%. So we have a 19-19, both of us do, going into round three. Now, round three.
Oh, I'm interested to hear how you score round three.
10-9 Calderwood, not even – I have no close, no coin flips written in my notes.
Yeah, me too.
I felt confident. I thought actually round three was Calderwood's best round of the fight. Similar reasons. She kept it on the feet.
The distance control was fucking masterful.
I literally have pieced up Lauren Murphy in my notes.
She was piecing her up.
She was piecing her up. She was.
It was so okay. So I'm glad that you say that because just not even to hold it up any longer. Murphy wins by split decision. Two judges had it 29-28 Murphy. One judge had it 28-29 Calderwood. And it's I honestly thought it went the wrong way.
Me too. I definitely think Calderwood. She made an Instagram post and I won't get into detail, but the word BS decision was involved in the post, and I kind of agree with her. But what does Kenneth think? Yeah, Kenneth thinks that Joanne Calderwood won as well. Yeah, man, I think so. I think she won. Now, was it a close competitive fight? Yes, and it's tinfoil hat starts to get a little weird here.
Because the UFC needs Murphy to fight for the belt.
Needs it to fill a pay-per-view slot. Literally. That's the only answer.
I don't know if you noticed this last night. There were a lot of times where we waited 45, 50 extra seconds to get a decision read. Granted, those were some splits where I'm sure Buffer was clarifying and shit, but
they also said there's a digital element in the state of Arizona that's not in the other states. I think in the other states they hand paper cards to Buffer, and there's some digital kind of double checking system in the state of Arizona. So At least allegedly, that's what they were saying. So I don't really fully understand that either, but I did acknowledge that as well. Now, so I had it 29-28 Calderwood. One judge agreed with us. Two judges gave it 29-28 Murphy. The only reason I'm not really willing to roll out the hill to die on
Round one was so close.
Round one was a coin flip, and by saying it's a coin flip, like it can land on either side of that coin.
Now,
you landed on one side.
Do we both coin flip it that way, and so did Kenneth? Yeah. But,
it starts to get a little weird, right?
Starts to get a little sketch.
We need more judges to be ex-fighters. Yeah, I think
yes and no, but they train with a lot of the guys, so it's tricky.
It's tricky, and it's like I feel like there's like a code, right? Like, wouldn't you be seen as kind of a snitch? I feel like the judges are like the enemy. I feel like there's like an unwritten. No, I think that's stupid, and I think it's kind of unfounded. But I think it's a thing.
NBA players don't become officials.
Like, who would make a better cop than an ex-drug dealer? But
umpires aren't retired baseball players.
Yeah, so it's tricky, but not a bad point, but it gets real tricky. But so yeah, Lauren Murphy wins. Controversial decision. Like I said, we saw it the other way. It's about as close to rolling out a hill as you can get, but I'm not going to roll it out. How about you?
No hills, but like fucking close. Close, man.
Close. Yeah, iffy decision. Like man. I feel bad for Joanne Calderwood because, and I'll say this, is Joanne Calderwood kind of not a better matchup for Shevchenko if she does get to that level?
If she could make it, yeah.
And could they have spun it as in using the win over Murphy to kind of get to that level? But,
right, all she would need was one more fight, and then we would have got a Shevchenko challenge. So she took a whole lot of damage in this fight.
Yeah, man. I mean, but it's because I do like Lauren Murphy. Like, I'm happy for Lauren Murphy, but it's not like
feels like it's given, not earned.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what is going to say? Not all of them, but then you have some level of experience to relate to understand. Yeah, I feel you. Like, yeah, do we need like accountants judging MMA? I feel you.
Correct.
It's tricky. Like a guy like John Anik would be perfect, right? Like he doesn't have affiliations with the fighters, but he's not going to take like 100 times pay cut to go be a judge. So it gets real tricky. I don't know if there's a perfect answer. Man, we'll keep it pushing, though. That's the perfect answer right now for us Beefy boys is to keep it pushing. And next we got Eric Anders, minus 145, overplaced on the card as per usual, and fighting Darren Stewart plus 125. And, man, I got to say, I've come full circle on Anders, and not the way that you think. Because Anders, everybody knows, former Alabama linebacker. I'm a former college linebacker. I want nothing more than to be able to be an Eric Anders fan. I hate watching Eric Anders fight. I do.
Me too, but and this fight was terrible.
I hate that he gets overplaced on every card because he has probably more followers or whatever because of his days at Alabama. I hate how I'm actually thankful they didn't really mention it at all last night, which is probably the first time ever. They always milk that storyline to death. I knew Kenneth was going to come. Yeah. Eric Anders, that's my dude. I was going to bring this up. So before this fight, Kenneth messaged me and was like, oh, this is going to be a heater. I forget exact terminology. It's exact verbiage. He messaged me saying, like, oh, I'm looking forward to this fight. And I kept it a buck. I was like, honestly, bro, I'm not. Like I'm not like I'm not stoked for this fight.
And it was terrible.
It was a snoozer. Oh, yeah. And it was a rematch that, like, we talk about it all the time. Now, we get the last fight, there was a no contest. There was an illegal knee from Anders to Stewart. I get on a man-to-man level running it back. I really do. But from an outside perspective of a person that just likes watching quality matchups, I hate when they run back fights. Like, if their paths cross later on, i.e. Vettori Adesanya, perfect example, then I'm on board with it. Like, if it organically happens, but rematches of guys that aren't fighting for a belt or aren't even ranked or aren't even relevant, like, I get it. Nobody likes a no contest, but do we really got to run back these unranked fights at the wrong weight class?
Well, especially when they come out like this. Like this,
and then to place them this high on a card, like
over the 3 and 6 flyweight.
I'm out. I was out before the fight. And what's
Yeah.
up, Todd Atkins Show? Another podcast. Go follow the Todd_Atkins Show. And, they support us. We support them. I appreciate you tuning in, buddy. But, yeah, we had some good fights last night. But, yeah, man, I don't know. Eric Andrews, probably most overrated. I don't even want to say it's overrated. It's like overhyped is probably a better word, fighter in the UFC.
I don't feel like we should give even the fight breakdown too much shine, to be quite honest with you.
I'm with you. It was a snoozer.
But I do think overhyped, yes. I think the story they play him up with is a shit story.
All right, let's just do it like this. How did you score the fight, and then we'll read those scores. I scored at 29-28. Andrews, even though, against my better judgment.
I also scored at 29-28.
Yeah. As did one judge. Two judges scored at 29-27, Andrews.
I didn't get the 10-8. I was
Where?
Like, that's what I was just about to say. Is I was like the 10-8. I was like, that was.
This fight was a snooze.
There wasn't enough damage. There wasn't enough damage.
No, there wasn't enough anything.
Or like a close submission. Like there wasn't anything.
What? Hell no.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
If that was a 10-8, then Evloev round 1 was a 10-8. 100%.
And then that means round 2 was probably 10-7.
10-7, exactly. What kind of scale we using here? What the fuck we doing here? Hey, but no, seriously, I wasn't a fan of that fight. I'm glad we kept it short and sweet. Eric Andrews win -145. It was the rematch that nobody wanted or needed. I think we can finally put it to bed. Eric Andrews, does he go for it at light heavyweight? Didn't look great at light heavyweight. I mean, I don't really give a shit. I mean, he doesn't look great at 185
That's
either.
my thing is these guys are just back-end guys of the divisions. They just kind of hold the place for guys coming up. Sucks to say, but.
And it's also like, Eric Andrews has been like doing martial arts for what? I mean, even at this point, 6 years, 7 years. I mean, it's these other guys have been doing it since before their nuts dropped. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a ceiling. There is, and that's as a guy who's essentially doing the same thing. So it's like you're never gonna get to the level you need to get at. Like you just
True.
Yeah, it's just crazy. The same thing where like if you took that's why like the track runners that try to play football, you can't learn to play a sport in a year. It takes like the majority of your youth.
The technique is what's the hardest part to learn, you know what I mean? And so we talked about earlier about being a freak athlete. Like Andrews is a freak athlete, but you still have to have that technique. Like that's what takes the time. Like
and
being
he
an
should
athlete,
appreciate that. Like,
you don't.
Like, will these other light heavyweights be able to go play linebacker at Alabama after training for a few? No, they wouldn't. So it's like if anybody should understand that, it's Andrews. But hey, It is what it is. But yeah, we'll keep it pushing because this next fight was fucking amazing. And
Great fight.
The UFC acknowledged it as such. They put their money where their mouth is. This was the fight of the night on the card. I don't think anybody had any debate or problem with that. A lot of people had this fight circled as most likely going to be the fight of the night on the card. And man, yeah, it was a banger.
But before we even get into like the technical breakdown, I just want to note the strike numbers through 2 rounds. I've never seen a closer fight.
Wasn't it exactly even?
Yes. Yeah, 51 total, 27,
bullshit
24
exactly
each guys.
Evens where it doesn't match the eye test. Like it's like one of those things where your eye test is like, fuck, this fight is close, and then they pop the strike numbers up and they were dead even, and you're like, oh shit, it wasn't like Carlos Felipe Collier situation where the strike numbers were misleading.
Even Felder was like asking for strike numbers. Yeah, like, I don't know who's winning. Fuck.
Yeah, no, seriously, man, and I relate to that because I try to avoid the strike numbers. But in a crazy fight, I'll pull up the old ESPN app and check them out. What does it say? The unofficial slogan. Yeah. But all right, so Drew Dober, number 13th ranked lightweight, -145 favorite, coming off the loss to Islam Makhachev, which hardly anybody held against him, rightfully so. Brad Riddell, +125 underdog, unranked coming into this. But man, what a fight! How did you see round 1, my friend?
Man, I honestly leaned to Dober for round 1.
Oh, we got a disagreement here. I lean Riddell.
But here's
close.
The thing is, like, I honestly put coin flip in my notes. Like, I thought they were both landing super hard. The only reason I thought that Dober won the first round is because I thought he was landing the harder counter strikes, which I actually thought changed in the second and third. So...
Yeah. All right. Here's my rationale for giving it to Riddell, admitting it's a very close round. It was a very close round. Both guys had their moments. End of the round, though, Riddell was landing some bombs. Like, I literally
Dober did look a little hard at the very end of the round.
At the very end of the round.
Like very end.
And a razor-thin round matters, right? So that's like the end of the round. I literally wrote Riddell stole the round with those late bombs. That's what my
Riddell was really hurt, too, in the first round at one point.
Yeah, which, like I said, if you're going to give – if each guy gets hurt and one guy gets hurt at the end of the round after surviving getting hurt himself, I kind of got to lean that one. But razor thin. And I'm sure the judges felt like actually all the judges agree, but in a weird way where it may be scores are weird where judges can disagree on which rounds they gave who and still have the same score.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think that happened here, honestly. But yeah, round 2, an absolute war. Round 2, like, we may have to add a category. It may be hard as fuck to research, though. But if we can remember, and for next year's Beefy Boys Prime Choice Awards, round of the year maybe need to be a new category.
Round of the year will definitely be a category.
Because round 2, Riddell Dober, I'll put it up against other rounds. Like, that's one of my favorite rounds. Absolute war.
What's crazy is they were just throwing bombs. And it was like 25-25 and punches landed, I'm pretty sure. And they were just all like
equally
hard
impactful
bombs. And like each guy had like a super solid chin. But I thought Riddell was getting the better of Drew Dober in the second round.
Yeah, especially at the second half of the second round. I thought Riddell really kind of looked better. So you gave Riddell round 2 as well.
Yeah. So
and another close round. Yeah, and see, I had a 20-28, but 2 fucking wars of around 2 close-ass rounds. And that's going to be the story of my scorecard. And then round 3, how'd you see it?
So I had round 3 to Riddell as well. I thought that
he started Dober hurt.
Yeah, he started to like rock Dober, got him cut open on both sides of his face.
I said Riddell. Riddell had Dober hurt in round 3.
Yes, yeah. So
I bet best round of the fight for Riddell. You agree?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So my scorecard is a lie. My scorecard comes out 30-27, but I openly acknowledge this was a fucking banger war.
Yeah, it was a
razor-thin fight. I thought Riddell, like I said, I mean, I'm not mad at the 29-28. That's probably more realistic. All 3 judges scored at 29-28 Riddell. I had a 30-27. Like, it's a weird – scorecards are weird. That's why I kind of like the one championship model. Because because 30-27 seems like an ass-whooping, non-competitive fight. This was such a competitive fight. I just thought at the end of each round, like, I literally think Riddell stole round 1 and 2. Like, stole it. Like, at the end of the round.
You might not be wrong.
And then third round was Riddell's best round, which obviously that looks really good in a war of a fight if you look better at the end of the fight. So I had a 30-27, but it just shows the weird nature of scorecards. Both guys totally earned their $50K. Fucking absolute dope fight to watch. Like, I don't know, such an amazing fight. I love that fight. Yeah. And I think this gets Riddell into the top 15. I wouldn't mind Dober staying in the top 15, maybe moving down to 14 or 15, something like that. But I don't think he necessarily should lose his ranking. I thought, especially after a performance like that. But yeah, Brad Riddell. But see, lightweight. See, in any other division, we'd be like, "Oh, look out for Brad Riddell." But in lightweight, you don't gotta look out for shit.
It's like fuck. Like
now you gotta fight. Yeah, now, like, congratulations on your win. Now you get to fight fucking either, like, the winner of Kevin Lee. No, Kevin Lee's moving up. So, yeah, Gregory Gillespie's 10. Makhachev is 9. Dan Hooker's 8. RDA 7. Ferguson 6. Like, oh, yeah, congratulations. I guess. Yeah,
like, enjoy.
Like, my pick would probably be Ferguson after all these L's, but still, tough night out, right? Like, I mean, especially if you're Brad Riddell.
Like, he'll never fight Dan Hooker because they're teammates. So that he obviously can't fight Dan Hooker. And Makhachev's not going backwards.
And then, I mean, Diego Ferreira is at 12.
I could see Ferreira and Riddell.
Yeah, yeah. Or Arman Sarukian's at 15.
I could see Sarukian and Riddell.
Yeah. Those would be fun. Oh, Saruki and Riddell would be
Sarukian would be
fun.
fire.
That would be fun, man. Oh man, lightweight division in good hands, but it's still just that upper echelon. There's like almost 2 divisions in the lightweight division. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. But that got fight of the night. Amazing fight. Honestly, it's like if you don't got time to watch a whole card, I'd recommend watching that fight even over any fight on the main card or in the main.
For sure.
So
for sure, I agree with that.
Oh, but goddamn it, yeah, that was the end of the prelim. So we'll end this video and come back hot and heavy for this main card, baby.
Yes, sir. See you in a minute.